Funnest show of the day, Wednesday. It used to be Pros vs. Joes. I haven't upgraded the graphic. But now it's prime time with Joe Raneri and Rob the Hair Veno. Excited to have you guys both with us. We're taking apart the 5 main primetime games today. Wisconsin, Auburn, Notre Dame, Green Bay, and Miami. Those are the road teams in these 5 games. But before we get into that, I just want to say, Joe, what a pleasure it is to be in your presence.
You have no idea. I honestly, of all the things to do on my sheet here, this is absolutely one of them, Prez, without a doubt. Very excited to be here.
Oh, I'm glad it's one of the things you have to do. Can you show us the sheet?
Not handy yet. Not there. It's in front of me.
I feel like that jacket might be a bit large, Joe. Have you lost weight or do you have a bad tailor?
I have, as a matter of fact. It's still 100 degrees here in South Florida, so there's really a lot of sweating going on here. A lot of sweating.
And 200 degrees in the sun lamps that face you permanently.
Or the sun itself. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Rob, what a great time I had with you yesterday on the betting edge. Gave out Washington as a baseball play. That worked out well for us. I like Washington again tonight. I know we're not here to discuss that, but man, Washington is like plus 8-9 for a sweep. I think that's worth the money, dude.
Hey, at this point in time, is there anybody? Well, we talked about Houston's clutch players on that show yesterday, Prez, but I mean, Juan Soto has to be the most clutch of anybody right now. He comes up, and you're the other side, no matter if you're Garrett Cole or whoever. You're pretty nervous facing that guy at this point in time.
Yeah, nobody's hotter than Washington except Joe Raneri under his sun lamps.
You know that. Damn. Ain't going to get oiled up by itself.
Check out the bicep. Okay.
What is that?
That's a little, we call that the hill. The hill where the Prez makes his last stand.
Am I the only one that you look like a ghost? Is this
dude.
A Halloween thing?
Yeah,
what
so
is this?
It was my girlfriend's birthday last night, and we went out hard. I mean, check out the bags. I'm pale as hell. But I did do something a 50-year-old man almost never does.
Remember? No?
Hold your pee in while sleeping?
Yeah, I was going to say, not get up in the middle of the night?
No, I got up in the middle of the night. My brother Darren's 45. He goes to the washroom 5 times a night. I'm at once, around 8:30.
They make a pill for that, don't they?
It's not. Listen, dude. I mean, what, are you going to throw a bunch of chemicals into your body? What are you, Alex B. Smith, drinking Coke all frickin' day? Alex does puck time with us. We do puck time on Friday. We do it every day, but Friday Alex starts the show with, "Oh my God, I'm so excited about tonight. So much good stuff on TV. I literally bought a case of Coke and a large pizza, and that's my night tonight."
Oof.
Yeah, Alex needs a life.
But in his defense, he's in Minnesota, so what else is there to do?
Where the hell are you, Rob Veno?
I am tucked away here in the southeast corner of Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes from Philadelphia.
Oh.
Where they're ready to burn down Lincoln Financial Field.
I saw the Grateful.
Any Amish? Any Amish over by you?
Oh yeah, they're the biggest frauds going, Joe.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got some furniture to sell you.
I saw the Grateful Dead in Philadelphia many years ago. Don't remember much of the show though.
Back to the 50-year-old guy. Yep.
Back to me.
Told you.
Wisconsin plus 14 against Ohio State. Total is 50.5. You know, I mean, listen, Wisconsin's loss last week was a shocker. I think they were minus 28, give or take. They lost by 1. It was obviously a heartbreaking loss, but you know, like Auburn, like LSU, like Wisconsin, these teams still have destiny in their own hands. They go in and beat Ohio State, which is a big ask, and they're right back in the hunt. Rob Veno, I'll go to you first. Wisconsin plus 14 or lay the points?
Yeah, it looks like so far, Prez, money is chosen to lay the points. We see some 14.5s out there. I will start really quick with this for everybody that watches the podcast here, video cast, whatever we call it. Check the weather in all three of these college games we're going to discuss, because there's the potential for steady rain in all three of these. Percentages are a little bit different, but this is one as well. Field turf surface, probably not as bad as natural grass here at Columbus in the shoe. These two teams, they're going to face the toughest offensive line, defensive line, offensive balance, defense overall at all three levels that they faced all year. It's a huge matchup for both. I think when you break it down, though, when we look for keys to this game, Wisconsin, obviously, with Jonathan Taylor. That ground game, guys, ran for 359 yards and 6.3 a carry against Michigan. Aside from that, Michigan hasn't allowed a single team to run for better than 3.5 per carry. So that's a pretty impressive number. It shows that when Wisconsin wants to flex their muscle, they can flex their muscle. And right now, to this point, Ohio State's defensive front seven has not had to face a team that's going to come straight ahead and drive block at them. So we'll see how that one works out. They've only had 2 opponents this year, Ohio State, that rank in the top 80 in rush offense. Nebraska's 40, Cincy's 60. That's it. The rest are below 80. So that's an interesting matchup here. Maybe Wisconsin can make some hay there. They're certainly balanced enough to throw in some of the passing game. Their receiving core, Cephas, Davis, Ferguson, the tight end, those guys are going to have to create some separation against that Ohio State secondary. I think both teams, fundamentally, you could make a case for. For me, I think the biggest thing is Wisconsin's situation, which you pointed out, Prez, is a situation of desperation. They're not going to be in awe of this venue. They'll go in there. I think they'll bounce back, not necessarily win the game, but to me, you're staring at 14.5 points right now. I understand the speed and athletic ability of Ohio State and Justin Fields' dual threat ability that Wisconsin hasn't seen. But boy, oh boy, 14.5 to a Jim Leonard defense and this offense, which is probably the best they've had in a long time. To me, I'd take those points.
Yeah, Joe, while Rob was talking, I noticed you dabbing your eyes.
Yeah,
Visine?
allergies going on. No, yeah, little Visine, little allergy, little 100% humidity. It's a lot of fun down here, really. I suggest you all hop on a plane and get down here.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. Hard pass for me. I hate everything about Florida. Joe, what do you like in this game?
I got to tell you here, guys, it's not like, Wisconsin's playing, Illinois, I mean, it's Ohio State, so this shouldn't be a problem at all. Actually, it's going to be a big problem for them. Having to win a game and actually going ahead and doing it, especially in Columbus against not just this offense, and I don't think Wisconsin has the firepower. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, love him, great running back, but you are not going to beat an Ohio State team that averages just about 50 points a game by running the ball down their throats. It's their defense that gives up, about 8 points a game on average this year. This defense, as good as Jim Leonard and Wisconsin has been this year, and they have been fantastic, this is a different level team. Ohio State, this is the kind of game that they separate themselves from everybody else, especially at home. Fields, Dobbins, they got more than enough firepower to put up a ton of points here on Wisconsin. And I think they're going to force them to have to throw the ball as opposed to running it, and that's where they're going to get into trouble here. I don't see a problem. I think this has got blowout written all over it for Ohio State. They are that much better than Wisconsin.
So really, to summarize, Wisconsin finds themselves like Joe Raneri on a date, playing an opponent who's going to provide a lot of defense.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, a lot of hand checking.
Yeah,
a lot of hand check. Yep.
Auburn plus 10.5 versus LSU. This LSU offense, Rob, is ridiculous. But I mean, Auburn, I think, can beat any team in the country. Now they're finding themselves as a massive dog. I think they're barking. I think this game's going to go over the total of 58.5 points. And I like Auburn here.
Yeah, I'm going to lead you down a long path here, Prez, but at the end of this path, I'm going to get to the over myself as well. First off, I mean, both of these are 6-1 against the spread, both of these teams. Auburn, maybe you'd be a little bit more surprised at being 6-1 against the spread, but LSU 6-1 against the number. 5-0 as a double-digit favorite if you want to throw out the FCS opponent, Northwestern State, where LSU closed at -52 and managed to win by only 51. So we'll throw that one out. But they've been a good double-digit favorite, basically due to that offense. Here's the problem that I see for Auburn that I can't get past defensively, and it comes to pass offense, pass defense. Joe Burrow this year, 218 pass attempts, 3 interceptions. 1 interception every 72.5 passes. He's not going to throw 72.5 passes this game, so we'll kind of lean toward him not throwing a pick in this one. Auburn's defense only has 3 interceptions this year in 261 attempts against them, so they pick a ball off once every 87 passes. If LSU is able to throw the football and not worry about turning it over, long day for Auburn. I would be pretty safe to say that, I think. Good teams that they've played that can throw the football. This is Auburn's defense I'm talking about. Oregon, 76% completions. Texas A&M, 63.5% completions. Florida, 64% completions. All 3 of those teams. Not 1 interception in any of those games for Auburn, but they recorded 10 sacks. That's where they come at you. They'll come at you with the defensive line. LSU's pretty good at protecting the quarterback, guys. They've only given up 12 sacks all season long, so that'll be a pretty good battle. Here's exactly the way I see this happen, and both of these teams are probably going to tempo each other to death. Auburn, behind Gus Malzahn's play calling, is going to try and tire out that LSU defense, and we've seen it happen this year a few times, guys. Vandy even got 38 against LSU because the game was run at such a rapid pace. But teams have scored. Texas put up 35. Auburn's going to try and tempo LSU's defense to wear them out. LSU obviously tempos everybody and wears them out, including Florida, who they put 42 points up against. I think in the end, second half, you're going to see points keep coming. And I'll revert back to, I can't remember if I've said it on this show or not, but I feel like I say it every single time I talk about LSU. Joe Burrow, from day one, his post-game, pre-game, whatever quotes they are, always refer to LSU never letting off the gas pedal. This is a team in the fourth quarter that if you want to lay double digits, they're going to keep scoring. Just ask Florida. It was 28-28 in the fourth. They put up 2 TDs to cover. So I don't see any let up from either side here, and I'm with you, Prez. I think 58 might be a hair low. Worried somewhat about that rain forecast. No wind involved in that one, but we'll see if it's enough to bother anything.
Lobster Joe Raneri.
The one thing that we learned about this Auburn football team and their quarterback, who I think is going to be one of the best in the SEC over the next couple of years, Bo Nix he's a phenom. This kid is going to be great. The problem is he's a freshman. And what I saw in the swamp here, guys, with him was a freshman. He is a quarterback when he plays at home. That is one thing. He is still trying to learn how to win on the road, which is usually the freshman growing pains here. And I watched him go up against a pretty damn good defense of Florida there. They made him look silly. And now he's going in an even tougher place to play environment in LSU with a team that, again, this is the time of year in college football. Teams are looking to separate themselves as that group of very strange adults gets in, locks themselves into a room, and then comes out with a list that we're all supposed to think it gives us the best chance at a college football playoff. This is one of these games here where I'm going to like Auburn in this situation maybe a year or two down the road, but right now it's very hard to go against Joe Burrow and what they are looking to do. They are on a mission, this team. They can put up 50 points in a heartbeat. That defense at home and that freshman quarterback on the road, it's got a recipe for disaster. I look for them to pull away late in this game, just like they did against in the last game when they had Florida LSU. This has got somewhere around, I would say, maybe 42-20, somewhere around that ballpark.
So to summarize, like Justin Bieber's upcoming marriage, The key word is over.
Yes.
like
That was nice. That had a nice ring to it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, well, minus 120 at Justin Bieber's upcoming marriage doesn't last a year.
No. I think didn't he divorce already?
Yeah,
No,
but pre-marriage.
pre-marriage.
Stephen Baldwin's daughter. Stephen Baldwin's now a born-again Christian, and
I'm sure that'll help his acting career.
yeah, God blesses him. Actually, he's in a lot of Christian TV movies, which is always inspirational. I found Iron Man 1 the best Christian movie put out to date. I thought it was spectacular.
Very good. You're right. Yeah. I know a guy that used to got 8 balls with him, and I don't know where Jesus was then, but sounds like a nice guy.
And on that note, Notre Dame Pick'em versus Michigan, 51.5. Rob, I can't touch this game. I mean, this is like the Prez in bed with an extremely ugly female. Hands off.
You know what? I probably see it the same way.
Joe,
I'll cut you off there before you even get going.
I'm good.
Yeah.
That whole visual right there did it for me. Thank you. Appreciate that. God.
Listen, there's too many counter arguments you could make in this game. I prefer Notre Dame. I think they're the better team. However, Michigan gets this negative perception nationally, and statistically, it's not based on anything, guys, because if you take the Wisconsin debacle out of their schedule, which, teams are prone to have one bad game, that was an ultra bad game for Michigan. But the other games that they've played, including last week against Penn State, where they went into a primetime whiteout on national TV, outgained Penn State 417 to 283, 26 first downs to 14, killed them in time of possession, had the ball for 15 and a half minutes more than Penn State did. And actually, you wouldn't even know that they walked away with the cover in that game the way that Michigan is perceived right now, 3-4 against the spread. I think the expectations and that 3-4 spread mark both lead towards the negative perception that we have of Michigan right now. But the statistics don't show it. I guess the question you have to ask yourself is, are they a statistical mirage? They do a lot but don't get anywhere. Or are those statistics ever going to come to fruition and start producing some wins and covers here? We saw a little bit out of that passing game last week. 3 guys who could be NFL receivers finally catching balls and making big plays. But Notre Dame's had a bye week, guys, to get ready for this. 2 weeks to prepare for Michigan. It's a huge game on their schedule as an independent. These USC games, these Michigan games, they're all big rivalry, sort of semi-rivalry type situations. And they have enough offensively and defensively, in my mind, to go toe-to-toe with Michigan, even in Ann Arbor. One problem for Notre Dame, maybe you could point at, is the fact that they had some trouble in the second half of that game with USC's passing attack. Keaton Slovis and those 3 stud wide receivers for USC put up touchdowns on their last 3 possessions and turned a 20-3 blowout into a pretty easy 30-27 cover. Michigan has the same style wide receivers, maybe not exactly as good, but pretty darn close. Just don't know if Shea Patterson is Keaton Slovis, and that's kind of hard to say because one's a senior and one's a sophomore at this point in time. But I would lean Notre Dame. Don't really have a good feel for it, President. As far as total is concerned, we're looking at, 51. I think it's been bet up 3 points.
Yeah.
Maybe at 48, it was a real good value. 51's too key of a number for me to get involved.
Joe, really, my takeaway from what Rob was saying is that Michigan reminds him of your and my radio career. We do a lot, but don't get anywhere.
It's a fair assessment of the radio career, anyway.
It really is.
The game itself. Listen, in Ann Arbor, not exactly a place Notre Dame has had a lot of success. In fact, they've lost the last 4 times in Ann Arbor. They have not been able to pull out the victory. These 2 teams usually battle right down to the end. It's usually single digits when it's all said and done. Notre Dame's done a really good job of covering against the number this year, profiting for bettors. I just can't, coming off a bye, bring myself with stories today breaking about Harbaugh wanting to have an exit strategy to go back to the NFL. It's like distraction after distraction with Michigan. I'm not a believer in Shea Patterson. I think that Brian Kelly and company are better coaches. Sorry, I think they are. And I think the second half adjustments will tell you everything you need to know about what kind of difference there is in coaching on both sidelines. So to me, Notre Dame has got it all going. They've had 2 weeks to prepare. Brian Kelly in this group, veteran quarterback there for Notre Dame. They got a couple of defensive ends there are going to make life miserable for Shea Patterson. It would be nice if he can get the ball to those receivers, but I have yet to see Michigan play 4 quarters. That's the damn problem. And if you give Notre Dame a finger, they're going to take an arm. And I think they're ready for this one here. And I think Notre Dame, even on the money line at this point, forget about the 1 point. Just take Notre Dame on the money line. They're going to win this game.
So to summarize, like the meaning of life, only Joe has an opinion on this game. I need some summaries, Joe. Damn you for not preparing me. You built up my AV.
Wait.
You helped me set up a studio. You're responsible for all my bad sound.
Oh, my word.
And you can't even write.
All right, I'll help you out with the last one.
Okay, thank you, Joe. I need that. And also, I bought you a beautiful bottle of scotch, by the way. I just don't know where to send it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you're coming down to Miami, aren't you? Aren't you coming down for the Super Bowl?
God, no.
I didn't think so.
Oh, and it's funny. I've only seen one football game in my whole life live, and it was at Joe Robbie, and it really looked like a bunch of ants playing with a Tic Tac.
Yeah, that's what happens when you pay $3 for a seat. That you usually get the.
But I'll tell you the worst part of that story, though, Joe. I was about 20 years old, and we had smuggled about this much hash over the border because me and my friends were there for like 6 days, and we needed our hash. We left it on the bus heading to Joe Robbie.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. That's uncalled for.
Yeah,
that's totally uncalled for.
Didn't go well at all. Hey guys, really quick, I got to make mention of this.
Somebody actually brought the hash in their ass across the border, and you left it on the bus.
Oh, you don't bring it in your ass? You want to know how you do it?
No. How do you do it?
Okay, so we had a plan, dude. It worked. It was just so you cut a hole in your pocket of a pair of jeans so that on the one of the sides there's a hole, right? Then you put the hash on the other side of the hole and you just go through. If you get pulled over on the walk, you just slide the hash down the hole and voila, it lands on the ground. But we never got that far. We were able to pull it off every time. Yeah, so any border guys watching the show?
I was referring to a lot easier to not having to slide anything. Like once you're in, you're out. I don't get it. You're cutting a lot of holes. I got one hole here. You're in, you're out.
Okay.
Just saying.
Just in case there's any border people listening, I will be.
How they do it in Colombia.
I will be passing the border again. My name is Joe Raneri. That's Joe Raneri.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can carry the scotch, by the way. I'm not suggesting you smuggle the scotch, by the way, but I'm just saying.
I love this Green Bay Kansas City game. The line makers decided Pat Mahomes was worth 8 points. The look ahead was Kansas City -4. It's now Green Bay +4.5. And I'll tell you flat out, I'd rather bet Kansas City -4 with Patrick Mahomes playing. But I don't mind Kansas City +4 in this spot either. I like the dog here, guys. And, I like the dog a little bit on the money line as well. I really like over the total in this game. I think, Matt Moore, he's done well as a starter. And he's done well as a starter against the spread. And we saw last week that he was able to release the ball downfield. We still have Tyreek Hill stretching the field. We still have Watkins playing in the slot. We still have the best tight end in football. I think they're going to need to rely a little bit more on their running game. Green Bay's a fraud. They barely beat Minnesota. They lost to Philadelphia. They got lucky with a car brain cramp at the end of the first half against Oakland. They're not deserving of 4.5 points on the road. Rob Veno, I'll go to you first. I like Kansas City, and I like the over.
Yeah, you covered a lot of ground that I would have covered myself there, Prez. So I'm
people
pretty much lock, stock,
need to know that I'm not just a really handsome host.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's make sure everybody knows that.
Rob, if you don't mind, can we just take a minute listening to Joe moan into the microphone?
Want to do that again, Joe, for the crowd?
No, I'm good. I'm good. That was not just it's not just another pretty face, Rob. You know.
Well, yeah, baby. I have a bicep, and look, flexing the pecs. Yesterday I complimented Drew Martin on how handsome he is, and Joe, I don't know if you feel the same way, but he's a very handsome chap. And one of the commenters put up, "Hey, Prez, why'd you keep talking about guys' looks?"
Good point.
Well, how is that a good point?
No, because he was very observant. It means he's listening.
Oh, from that perspective, it's not a good point at all. Let me explain so that everybody understands. The Prez is as straight as I have no analogy, but the Prez is damn straight. What he does enjoy is God's art. You, Joe Raneri, are God's art. You, Rob Veno, are God's art. One of you is better sculptured than the other. But why should I not enjoy all of God's art?
Every bit of it. Yes.
Rob, Green Bay, Kansas City.
Very popular in prison, you'd be. Yes.
Okay.
How's that lead in for you, Rob? You feeling good?
I don't know how I can mesh prison into this.
Oh, I can.
Prison especially mesh into this. The Packers, I think a lot of the stuff you said, Prez, like I say, I feel the same way. I think over's the way to go here. I think Matt Moore has the weaponry around him to be successful against a Green Bay defense that a lot of people are making a lot out of. And really, I don't know where the substance lies in that defense. I mean, we hear how great the pass rush is and the defensive backfield. And yet when I watch that team play routinely, neither comes through on a consistent basis. So I think KC's not going to be as affected offensively as some people think they would be without having Patrick Mahomes there. Obviously, it's a downgrade, but still, Andy Reid's a master at offensive game planning. He'll come up with plenty of stuff to keep this guy protected and to get the ball out quick and maybe to utilize that backfield a little more against Green Bay here. That being said, Aaron Rodgers, if he gets Devontae Adams back for this game, could have the same field day against the Kansas City defense, which, again, looked great against Denver. I'll take it as more of a mirage than anything of consistency. I don't know that they'll be able to stop Green Bay. They hadn't stopped anybody heading into that Denver game, so why stop the way Rodgers is throwing the ball right now? Back and forth, up and down the field. I'll be there on the over in that game. I think that's the best way to go.
Handsome Joe Raneri.
I'd always like to think of this game like, what would Danica Patrick do?
Listening to you talk through a microphone.
Yes.
Have an orgasm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly correct. So to summarize, Danica Patrick would have an orgasm while I sit here and pick against her boyfriend because I, too, am leaning towards the Kansas City Chiefs for a couple of reasons. Number one, the situation is not nearly as dire as everyone's making it out to seem. Matt Moore, who I happen to have seen here quite a while in Miami,
you spooned with
is
him
more than
once, right?
Yes, absolutely. We held hands on a bus while he smuggled hash in. We actually had I actually had him on the show a few times here. He's a very nice guy, very knowledgeable, and I don't know if a lot of people he was retired. They talked him out of retirement, Andy Reid. He was actually in the scouting department of the Miami Dolphins, and Andy Reid brought him over and to back him up, and he is more than capable, guys. And Andy Reid is more than capable as a head coach to be able to put a game plan together for Matt Moore and the weapons that they have. This is ultimately going to come down to defense with Kansas City. They actually, I think, turned a corner last week. We watched that in Denver there. I do think, of course, Aaron Rodgers is a little bit more of a harder quarterback to defend than, of course, Joe Flacco. But I do think that there's been way much made overreaction. I do think that Aaron Rodgers and this Green Bay team are a bit overrated this year, overvalued. And I do think Arrowhead, regardless, still a tough place to play. Yeah, I'm going to take the points here, guys. I'm going to take the points all day with Kansas City. I do believe, especially with that crowd, and we know Aaron Rodgers a little bit different when he's away from discount double check land over there in Green Bay. He's a different player on the road. Give me the home team at Arrowhead this weekend.
So to summarize, like all three of us frothing with our girls or wife, we want more. And we really do want more. Matt Moore, baby. Oh, you got it now? It was a pun. It was a pun.
Yeah.
A damn pun.
It was a
The
pun.
Prez should actually prepare some of these summaries. Miami plus 14 versus Pittsburgh, total 43. I like Miami. I'm not betting this game. Rob Veno.
We're really talking about this game, aren't we? Oh, man. I thought that was a joke.
They're really going to show it on Monday night, too,
Wow.
Joe, which is amazing. You have to wait till the end of the year to be able to back out of these things, I guess. But this is a example of a horrible football. I was reading an article where the last 3 primetime games, NFL, have just been complete blowouts, and maybe this one adds to it. But, if I had to play, guys, I would probably play under 43. I think the Pittsburgh defense has found itself once again. They're playing exceptionally well. I think Miami will have all kinds of difficulties moving the football against them. Pittsburgh's had a week off to get ready for this. Not that you need a week off to get ready for Miami, but they had it, and they'll make use of it. Miami moved the ball a little bit against Buffalo last week, but that could have been just Buffalo looking ahead. I'm not really sure that Miami's offense showed much improvement in that particular game. To lay 14, I don't want to get involved there. I think that's, a little bit out of my category. I don't like to lay those huge prices in the NFL. But under 43 could provide some value. You could see a 31-10, something in that vicinity for Pittsburgh, maybe even less, 27-10. Just really a game that I'm going to avoid. But if I had to, I think I would play under 43 based simply on Pittsburgh's defense, their ability to contain Miami. And, that offense, not necessarily high-flying either at this point in time. Still a little bit of trouble moving the football behind Mason Rudolph. So, for purpose of the show, I'll say under, but probably a game I won't get involved in.
Joe?
To summarize, much like the Prez in jail, this game blows. And yes, it absolutely blows. And it's a Monday night game, and we are going to be forced to watch this. But I will say this, guys. Word on the street here. Yeah, word on the street here, though, is there is, and I tend to agree with this, Fitzmagic is alive and well, guys. And he, for 3 quarters, they beat the living crap out of the Buffalo Bills up there. And Fitzmagic was the big reason behind that. This Miami team can score. Don't let them kid you. With Fitzmagic there behind center, they are a better team. Gives them the best chance of winning. They have some weapons there on the outside. I do think if you gave me Mason Rudolph and Ryan Fitzpatrick and said, okay, let's see how many points you can score, I think Fitzpatrick can score way more points. And if they do get ahead, I'm not sure Pittsburgh and Mason Rudolph are going to be equipped to make this massive come-from-behind win. So if you want to give me 14 and a half, I'll gladly take the 14 and a half as long as Fitzpatrick's the quarterback, because I do think he is just magic enough to be able to cover this game.
Yeah, so I don't need to summarize because you did such an incredible job.
You're welcome.
I'm with you completely on Miami, Joe. Guys, I love the show. It's great that I can that all three of us can bring our personality to the show. So many of the shows are so dry and so statistical and analytical. It's just an absolute pleasure doing the show with the two of you nutcases. Joe, is that a brick wall behind you?
Yes, I had to switch locations because they took my window away, and because you had to open your mouth about it. So yes, now I'm stuck in a stupid room here somewhere with a brick wall behind me.
God damn that, Prez.
Terrible.
Rob, any last thoughts?
Any
Well
last
said.
thoughts? With everything that's been discussed on this show, there's probably plenty of thoughts that'll end up in that comment section. So we'll respond to those.
Good point.
Joe.
Solid. Yes. My thought.
Yeah, but before you get to your thought, I just want to give you mine. Going back to earlier in the show, we talked about how you and I do so much and none of it amounts to anything when it comes to radio. You need to get a job on XM radio from 12 to 2 at night. And it needs to go something like this. Ladies out there, if you can't sleep, call Dr. Love. He's got advice for you. He'll tell you how to pleasure your man, pleasure yourself. I am here, I am open, and I am ready to talk. It's Dr. Love, the 2-hour sex show with Joe Raneri.
Yes. So to summarize, the Prez needs to go get himself some. So
yes, he
don't
does.
Have to sit here and talk about this anymore. Very good. Dr. Love says, Prez, go get yourself some. So Rob and I don't have to tolerate you anymore, please.
I'm going, Joe.
There he is. He's out of here. That's it. He's done.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
All right, guys. Take care.